Hello everyone, I'm Louis Bertu and I'm here to deliver you yet another drum lesson video series. Hell yeah. This time we're going to be looking at drum beats rather than rudiments. So last year when I recorded my first series, we were looking all about rudiments, paradiddles, that kind of thing. So there's no paradiddles in this video series, unfortunately, for you lovers of paradiddles. There's going to be none of those. Instead, we're going to be looking at drum beats. So drum beats are basically what you're going to be playing at a gig probably 99% of the time or 95% of the time. The other 5% of the time is you're going to be playing fills. So basically your beat is like sort of your home, basically, and then your fills are when you go on holiday every so often. Every so often you're going to break away from home, go on holiday, do a little fill, and then come back to home. And then you're going to stay there for a long time. Sometimes. The way I would differentiate between beats and rudiments is rudiments are what you play behind the scenes, drum beats are what you play on the night. So without further ado, here is a beginner's guide to drum beats. So our right foot is on the kick drum pedal here. This is the kick drum. The left hand is going to be on the snare drum, which is this one. And then the right hand is going to go over the top of the left hand onto the hi-hat cymbal. I'm going to say it again. So right foot on kick drum, left hand on snare drum, and then right hand over the top of the left hand onto the hi-hat. And I'll show you this in a different view in a second so it's easier to see. That's all you need to know for this lesson. Next video I'm going to give you the actual pattern to play with this position. Alright, so we're going to start off with an 8-beat, very simple drum beat, which I get all of my students to start off with, most of the time anyway. We're going to first just imagine 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, and those are going to repeat and repeat. And on beats 1 and 3, we're going to put a kick drum, and on beats 2 and 4, that's the first time I've debuted this hand technique, we're going to play the snare drum. So it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple enough. Okay. And what the hi-hat's going to play, so remember we put our right hand over the top of the left onto the hi-hat. The hi-hat's going to play 2 notes per bass drum and snare drum. So the first part is going to be this. And then the second will be... and then put them together, 2, 3, 4. Cool, right, I'll play that again a little bit slower, just so we get an idea of how it sounds slowly, obviously. So there you have, that's the 8-beat, and it's so titled because, as you can see up here, we've got 8 hi-hats per bar. If you're wondering, the X is the hi-hat, the circle at the bottom is the kick drum, and the circle in the middle is the snare drum. So once again, read along with the music, and here is the 8-beat once more. So yeah, varying the bass drum, what we're going to do this is, firstly I'll show you one variation and then I'll show you kind of a method for doing it yourself. So here's the first variation, and we're going to put a bass drum on the and of 3. Okay, That is one variation. I'll show you another one really quickly. This time we're going to put a bass drum just before beat 3, so on the and of 2. I like this one. I use this a lot. Great. And then the method for kind of doing this yourself, I would say any hi-hat you see, try putting a bass drum with it and see how you go. We're going to stick to, for the time being, putting bass drums with hi-hats. When you get to the more advanced stuff, you can start putting bass drums in between hi-hats, but maybe we'll save that for another series. So yeah, have some fun with that and try out some different combinations of bass drums and hi-hats and see how you go. Next time, we'll look at varying the snare. Here's a couple of examples of just keeping the hi-hats nice and consistent, but altering both the bass drum and the snare drum to really give us some interesting 8-beat variations. Okay. Just thinking off the top of my head now of another one. Maybe we could do... Hey, that's pretty cool. Maybe try that at home. What we can also do is look at the other two cymbals on the drum kit. So we've got the ride cymbal to my right here, and the crash to my left. Crash is used for like one-offs, accents, so every so often, whereas the ride, you can kind of use it like you would the hi-hat, so it's a common cymbal. So I'm just going to try a really quick pattern where I go from the hi-hat to the ride, to the hi-hat to the ride, nice and simple, just sticking to the basic 8-beat that we've looked at before. But what I'll do to kind of mark the transition between the two is chuck a crash on beat 1. So you'll get the idea. We'll do it now. So... That's a good exercise for getting used to moving between the ride and the hi-hat. This is something quite common to most songs. A lot of songs will have sort of hi-hats in the verse and then ride in the chorus, or maybe ride in like a big sort of guitar solo bridge section near the end. So it's good to be able to transition between the two. So yeah, enjoy playing the other cymbals, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Goodbye. So last time we looked at the ride cymbal and how we can play that instead of the hi-hat. So we can just basically move our 8-beat position, right hand moves to ride, left hand stays the same. We can also play that on the floor tom, which is this one down here, and it kind of makes quite a heavy sort of rock groove. That's probably the best way to describe it. You'll get the idea. So... And that's just another way of basically changing the sound, making it sound like you're doing something fancy, but actually you're just basically doing this. Might look a bit silly, but basically that was me trying to demonstrate that the right hand is the one that's travelling, everything else is staying the same. So yeah, have some fun with that. and then see if you can increase the tempo of that maybe. So it starts out. Should be quite a right-hand workout, but let's take the famous 8-beat once more. This time we're going to turn it into a double time groove. How do we do that? Well, the best way to think about it is 8-beat. Another word for it is normal time. So that's our normal time groove. Now, double time basically means we're going to double the amount of bass drums or kick drums and snares, but keep the hi-hats the same. This is how the double time is going to sound. Much loved by sort of hardcore punk bands. So that's double time, and then we're also going to look at half time. So we've got double time, normal time, and half time. Once again, we're going to keep the hi-hats the same from the 8-beat, but we are going to half the amount of bass drums and snare drums. Here we go. Cool. Best exercise for this, I will say, is start off with an 8-beat and then do 8-beat double time, 8-beat half time. So here we go. Enjoy. Double time, half time, normal time. Have a go. So to sum up everything I've gone through already, I'm going to do an improvised performance which starts off with an 8-beat and then varies it in various ways. This is currently take 2. The first take was too complicated and I couldn't be bothered to go back through the footage and work out what it is that I'd done. So here we go. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful for getting you started. And yeah, check back in a year's time or so for the next one, where hopefully I'll take things a little bit more intermediate to advanced. Great, well thanks for watching if you have so far, and yeah, happy drumming.